Hello, everyone. Welcome to our SmartDepart travel series brought to you today by AAA Travel. My name is Diana Imundi Gugliotta, and I will be your host this afternoon. It's been wonderful doing this series with travel. I've learned so much, and here at AAA, we're very focused on bringing our members the information that they need to ensure their safety while traveling, and that means on the road, in the air, or on the river, as well as providing you guidance and peace of mind for future travel planning. So today we are focused on river cruising, and I can't wait to hear more. I've learned so much from our presenters, and I have heard wonderful things from our members about river cruises. Our members are really in love with this form of travel. So as we continue our discussions on safe travel, our presenters today will outline the new safety protocols, what to expect, and how to keep yourself and your loved ones safe as we get back to making our travel plans again. I'll introduce the members of our panel shortly, but just a bit of housekeeping. I'd like to thank especially all our travel partners and our members who are taking the time this afternoon to be with us, and really those who submitted questions for the panelists ahead of time. Thanks for doing that, because we get those frequently asked questions and what everybody kind of wants to know. So please also, as we go through the event today, feel free to submit more questions through the Q&A chat box. And we might not be able to get to every single question, but we really will try our best. And don't forget, our AAA travel team is always standing by to assist. So if your question isn't answered today, just please feel free to reach out to your trusted AAA travel agents. You can visit us at the local branches. You can go to AAA.com/travel for more information on our website. There is a plethora of information there. And I've said it before, but I'll say it again. Our AAA travel agents have moved mountains for their clients, for our members over the last 6 months just about now, and they've reworked travel plans. They've ensured the best deals and value for our members, and they're always working hard to ensure they have the most up-to-date information in this rapidly changing landscape. So when you are all ready to travel again, you'll feel safe and confident in doing so. So, one thing I just want to add is don't try to navigate all that planning by yourself or reworking those plans by yourself if you feel that's necessary. You're our members, and that is what we are here for. So our agents have worked very closely with the partners who are here with us today to make some travel dreams come true. And I know that I, for one, cannot wait to get back to exploring. Like I said, I've heard so many great things about river cruising from members. And it's such a great way to travel, especially if you love architecture and culture. You're able to get up and close and personal on the waterways of your destination. So everything you need is there within reach. You only need to unpack once, which personally I love because that makes for a really relaxing vacation. And today our panelists are here to represent 3 incredible river cruise companies to talk to you about best practices for health and safety. And please look at those beautiful faces. I want to welcome to your screens, everyone, Stephen Bajaka from AmaWaterways River Cruising. And Ama is best known for its immersive take on river cruising. They bring their passengers closer to their destinations, very elegantly appointed ships, and they also have a strong focus on food and wine, and who doesn't love food and wine, right? So those are just some of the things that make AMA so special. And Stephen, I'm going to turn it over to you and ask if you can share with us how AMA is taking on the current challenges of health and safety on board your ships, and just maybe share some updates from your team.
Thank you, Diana. Yes, so this has been a very different year for us, and we are currently sailing on the Rhine River. We can go to the next slide. And so we started sailing in the beginning of July on the Rhine River. There are quite a few river cruise companies now back on the rivers in Europe. I think there's over 50. We are sailing on the Rhine River. We're sailing into the German-speaking market. Here's some slides on some of our guests, some of their actual slides of our guests in the past. We can go forward here on the presentation. We currently have suspended our sailings through October 15th for the U.S. market, but we're selling into the German market, and we felt that was important, Diana, because we want to know what the protocols are. We want to work through the protocols. We want to get some of our folks back to work in Europe, but more importantly, we want to see what it looks like, what it feels like, what are the capacity controls and things like that. So you can move forward in the slides there. We can get to those slides. This is a future cruise credit for anybody that was supposed to be sailing this year but moved to next year. So currently, though, I want to look at what we're doing on the Ama Christina on the Rhine River. I believe that's a couple of slides forward. This is our fleet, our very new fleet of ships, 23 ships this year. We'll have 25 next year. Okay, move forward. These are most of our staterooms built from 2015 on look like this, twin balcony staterooms, good sized staterooms. This is the slide now that shows us where we are currently, the state of river cruising in Europe currently. So you see here that we are currently doing temperature checks as people get on the ship. We are requiring face coverings when you're walking through the corridors. Similar to going out to a restaurant here, once you're inside, you might be led to your table in the dining room with a face covering. When you sit down with your party, you can take that off. Same thing with the guest lounge. You can take off your face coverings in the guest lounge. We want to remind everybody that there's never any recirculated air on our ships. All of the staterooms have their own air unit. The air comes in from the outside and is pushed out through a different vent. So there's never recirculated air, always clean air, social distancing on board. We can go to the next slide. So this is the front desk or the check-in. So obviously hand sanitizing. Again, same things we're doing here. Face coverings when you're with other folks. The capacity of what's being allowed on the ships now in the European zone is 100 passengers is the maximum capacity. Our ships currently take 156, so this is roughly 2/3 capacity we're allowed. And when we first started sailing back in, I think it was the 5th of July, we only had 55 passengers on that first sailing. Last week we had 87 passengers on the last sailing, and then the next several weeks we're at capacity at 100 passengers. So we're feeling pretty good about that. When people leave the ship to go on excursions, the limit of the group size that they're allowed to be traveling in is 15 passengers, which for AMA is a very good thing because that's what our group sizes are, 15 passengers or less, our walking groups or our hiking tours. So that's a good thing. Go to the next slide. And you can see in the guest lounge here. So we have made some modifications to what we're doing. There are, in between the couches and the love seats, there are some plexiglass dividers. We see that here in the States. But again, the smaller capacity helps us here. This guest lounge comfortably seats 160 passengers. So there you go. So you can see how everyone's kind of distanced now. The other thing that we've done here that was very interesting and clever, I think, on our part was that we've taken the top third of the sun deck and converted that into an outdoor restaurant. So now we have 3 restaurants on board, which helps us even more with social distancing. And we're now allowing room service in all the staterooms. In the past, we had room service only to the suites, but now we have them to all the staterooms. So there you go. That's actually my colleague there to the left. That's Dragon, one of my favorite cruise directors there. They were very happy to get back on the rivers, and it was kind of a surreal thing. The first sailing, the captain kind of sent reports back to us saying it was very surreal because at that time we were the first U.S.-based ship cruising on the Rhine. So we're very pleased by this. We're looking for other opportunities to finish out this season on different rivers in Europe. But so far, things have gone wonderfully, and it's good to test the protocols and make sure that we can do these things easily.
Looks like you have a very fun crew there, Stephen.
Yeah, they were happy to get back to work, I think so.
And in your shot of the lounge, I caught just the edge of a piano there, and it makes me realize how much I miss live music, going to a venue and listening to live music. So that looked wonderful. Stephen, being the first to return to the rivers of Europe, can you give us some insights just from those first voyages? Any findings that you'd like to share?
Absolutely. So again, it was the first couple of weeks are sort of surreal in that, again, this is not our normal group of passengers. Most of our business comes from the United States, a little bit from Canada. So these are German speaking. This is the German speaking market we're selling into. So the passengers are from Germany and Austria, some from Switzerland, some from the Netherlands, and we have testimonials. We couldn't use the video here. It's kind of hard to use here, but we got actual feedback from people traveling in English, multilingual there. People had a great time. We learned of earlier this week, there's several clients that have rebooked again, just from July, going back again in August to do it again, because it's a big deal for the Europeans to be able to travel again. They opened up a little bit before we have, and their vacations are now within Europe. So people are having a wonderful time. We're getting great feedback from the crew. We're compiling video clips and things like that. We're putting things on our website for your guests, for our guests to see, and we're sharing that information with your travel advisors as well. So I think people are just, and we can certainly understand this being in the States, people are just happy to be traveling again, right? So and taking regular vacations again. So again, this is a great opportunity for us. It's quite possible we will end the year with the same protocols in place. It's possible we might start next year with some of these protocols in place. So it's just great to run it through the paces and see people having a good time and get feedback from our crew as well.
Sure, and thank you for highlighting these exclusive programs for our AAA members here. Stephen, I took a peek and it looks like, correct me if I'm wrong, but is AMA celebrating its 18th birthday this year in 2020?
That is correct. So in just last month, July, I believe the day was actually July 18th was our 18th anniversary. So very proud of that. We're a debt-free company. We don't have debt on any of our ships. We're in good shape. We're just very pleased where we are, and we're looking forward to when everything opens up again and we can be sailing full force again.
That's wonderful. Congratulations to all of you. And it's very inspiring to see everyone back doing what they all love. And of course, all the Americans hope to join you soon. So thank you for being so detailed. And I really believe it gives our members more confidence in making future plans. That's really important to them. So thank you, Stephen. And now I'm going to turn things over to our next speaker, to Karen Freudlich from American Queen Steamboat Company. There's a beautiful photograph there. American Queen has a long history of sailing on our great rivers here in the States. And, lately we have seen increased interest for exploring within our own country, of course. So Karen, can you share with us some of the details pertaining to American Queen's revised safety standards?
Sure, absolutely. So first of all, thank you for having me. In these trying times, it is definitely worth the time to actually speak and share with you about what American Queen Steamboat Company is doing to help protect our guests once they board our authentic paddle wheelers. So as to the next slide, you'll see that we have enlisted the assistance of Ochsner Health, which is the largest health organization in Louisiana, to help with our health and safety measures. So the cleaning procedures started a while back, and the protocols that were set by the CDC. Now, being that we are a US flagged company, our parent company is Hornblower Holdings. Everybody is as far as even on board, all American, so we're all authentically, uniquely American. And we're finding that once people do have the clearance to come on board, like I said, with the CDC, we're held to different standards because we are a smaller company, smaller paddle wheelers, except for, of course, the American Queen, which holds just over 400 passengers. But the cleaning procedures, as you'll see in the next slide, we do include the pre-cruise hotel stays. So once you get checked into your hotel, all the safety screening will be taking place at that point at the hospitality desk, and seeking the assistance with Oshner as well as the hotels. So you get the pre-screening hotel temperature checks, and then at the gangway, your temperature is also taken. And then once you're on board, the face masks are required, especially by the crew when they're in close proximity to anybody. The entire coach and the coaches are the hop-on, hop-off motor coaches. So that is part of our shore excursions that are included. So we have taken down the motor coach capacity to give that social distancing. So typically a large motor coach would carry anywhere from 40 to 45 people. So we've cut that in half, as well as once we start hitting the American rivers, we're also implementing that on board. So with some of our, like for example, the dining on board, we have now switched to 2 seatings, as well as 2 show times. So we can do that separation. We've also implemented throughout the paddle wheel boats infrared stations. So for example, when you're passing by the purser's desk, we're going to be taking your temperature and you won't even know it. So there are definitely those guidelines in place, the sanitation, the social distancing, which I have here, face coverings. But you'll see in the next slide that you'll see that the fog cleaning, which is the EPA standards, will be taking place. And everything that I'm talking about here as far as the health and safety, we're not just stopping after COVID goes away. We will continue doing this on every single one of our boats, pre and post and during our voyages. So the increased sanitation of all contact surfaces, door handles, railing, stairs, elevators, keeping the distance there in the elevators as well. So that's a little bit about what we're doing as far as the health and safety is concerned, but rest assured that we are, as a company, on every single one of our boats, taking this very seriously and respectfully with the keeping our passengers and our guests healthy and safe.
Karen, thank you. This is great information. The technology is just amazing to think of those thermal cameras taking the temperatures of guests and they're not even cognizant that that's happening. It's really amazing what we're able to do to keep people safe. So I know, we really appreciate the attention to detail around those safety standards. Karen, I'm wondering which itineraries are most popular right now?
Well, right now, I would say, which is our bread and butter, our Memphis to New Orleans or New Orleans. But since I've been to New Orleans so many times now, it just flows out naturally, and that's what's part of the uniquely American experience. Even the crew on board. Our crew on board is not contracted employees. They are part of the family. So, and they, part of the experience when you're on board is not just experiencing our paddle wheelers, which, by the way, are all authentic paddle wheelers now, which propel the boats up and down the rivers. Now, the American Queen is celebrating the 25th anniversary of her. We are actually part of Hornblower Holdings. And as of 2012, we purchased the American Queen because the Hornblower Holdings wanted to get into the overnight cruise industry. So we purchased the American Queen in 2012. So we are held by the same standards as the big, large companies such as Carnival Corp and so on. So, but the American Queen is our authentic paddle wheeler. So she is an actual authentic paddle wheeler that is steam powered. She also has the only one in the world, a calliope on board. So if anybody hasn't played or had the opportunity to experience a calliope, you surely can on the American Queen. And she does the Mighty Mississippi. She does the Lower Mississippi, Upper Mississippi. And then you'll see the American Duchess. She does also the Mighty Mississippi and the Lower and Upper, as well as the tributaries that feed into the Mississippi. Now, the American Empress, a little bit different, an all outside cabin. As we go through these, you'll get the different slides that show you a little bit about what each paddle wheel has to offer. So we can go on to the next slide. So the entertainment on board is Broadway caliber entertainers. We say that because our entertainers have actually been on Broadway. So it's a taste of where we are on the rivers. So for example, when we're coming into Memphis, we're going to be doing a little bit of Elvis and rock and roll. When we're on other parts of the river, jazz, we'll be doing that. As far as entertainment, it just really dictates where the itinerary leads us, really dictates the entertainment.
That's so fun. Wow.
Yeah, but of course the enrichments on board, we have to have Mark Twain, right? So what is in our own backyard? And that's truly part of our enrichment. So we bring on Mark Twain impersonator. We have River Lorians on board. We don't have that, they're historians, but they're River Lorians. So we have lectures on board by these River Lorians that talk to you about the U.S. rivers. You may be sailing on, say, the Mississippi, but the River Lorians will be talking in general about all the rivers in the U.S. and mostly, of course, the ones that we are on. And then we have an Indian travel dance that we bring on board, especially in the Pacific Northwest. So we can go on to the next slide. Here is our hop-on, hop-off motor coaches. This is what I was speaking to earlier. You can't miss these. These are the motor coaches that are wrapped just like the American Queen, and they are part of the voyage. It's all-included shore excursions that you can, how do I want to say this? Experience what you want to experience. If you want to stay on the bus, the motor coach for the entire trip around that particular port, you can certainly do so, or you can get off whenever you want. And then when you're done, say, visiting the Capitol building in Baton Rouge and you want to go on to another stop, you just get right back on that bus and it takes you to the next stop. And then when you're done with everything that you want to see, they take you right back to the paddle wheel, back to the boat. So it's very easy. The destinations and the paddle wheelers here. So the next slide. The Pacific Northwest, this is beautiful. This is, I actually live in Seattle and spent 37 years of my life in Los Angeles. So when I moved up to the Pacific Northwest, it was just breathtaking. And that's what the experience overall that you would experience on the Columbia and Snake Rivers. So here's a map that you can visualize and hopefully experience in the upcoming year. So you could start your trip in Spokane. So Clarkston, you can take the Lewis and Clark True Adventure and head west and end in Vancouver or Portland, Oregon. It's right across the bridge. Or you can do Portland to Clarkston up to Spokane. That is a 9-day itinerary. So the next one would be the American Empress. This is the vessel that does the Columbia and Snake in the Pacific Northwest, and the Heartland, which is the Mighty Mississippi. So next is the American Queen, which and the Duchess and the Countess. And the Countess, I'll have a picture of her in a minute, is a new vessel for us that was supposed to have been, her inaugural was supposed to have been in July, but that has now been suspended for a little bit. But we just, as of this morning, received clearance from the Coast Guard that she's ready to go. So that's exciting news. So the Lower Mississippi, this is to your question. Memphis to New Orleans or New Orleans to Memphis. This is truly where you get to experience the Nottoway Resort, Baton Rouge, Natchez, Vicksburg, the Mississippi Delta, St. Francisville. Natchez, where we take you in, you can experience some Regina Charbonneau, which is a professionally trained French chef. We take you to her home where you can actually partake in watching her and experience making the true Southern buttery biscuits. So we take you there as well. So that's a little bit about the lower, and then we've got the upper Mississippi, and there's a huge difference between the upper and the lower Mississippi, whereby with the lower Mississippi, you get more of that history and Southern feel. And then as we come past, say, St. Louis up to making our way to Minneapolis, is a different, you get more wildlife. The water changes, it's beautiful. We come through St. Louis, Alton, Hannibal, which is where Mark Twain did a lot of his writings in his hometown, Dubuque, and then of course Red Wing into Minneapolis. So that's a little bit about the upper Mississippi. And the tributaries, of course, so Ohio, Tennessee, Cumberland, and Illinois rivers. All the stops that we stop in, of course, would be Louisville, which is, we actually have a, through Kentucky, we have a great Kentucky Derby excursion that you can have to experience if that's on your bucket list, to definitely experience that. That's part of our voyage. And the next, so this is the American Queen, steam-powered engine, 417 passengers. She's got more of the that Southern feel on the inside, and that show lounge that you see on the far right there is a replica of the Ford Theater in DC. The middle slide is the J.W. White dining room, and right above there is the Mark Twain Library. And then the left picture just gives you an idea of what the cabins look like. So they're very spacious, very Southern, with the plantation doors that latch on to the side of the vessel, very roomy. The next would be the American Duchess. You'll see that all of our paddle wheelers have that gingerbread feel on the outside, but once you get inside, they have a completely different feel to them. So the American Duchess is the only one on the U.S. rivers that has loft suites on board. So those are great for families. This is a much smaller vessel, 166 passengers, but she will also be doing the mighty Mississippi, the tributaries, and the lower Mississippi as well. And this is the American Countess. So we, like I said, she was due to be inaugurated just last month, but just had to put that and postpone that. But we are looking forward to having guests board her in the near future, hopefully. But you'll see some the pictures on the inside that the guest rooms are completely different. The interior of this one completely different than the American Queen, and as well as the American Duchess. So private balconies, the dining rooms, which you'll see have been spaced out, the wonderful, beautiful chandeliers, the piano lounge, great area for people to relax, and again, that social distancing in place. So the special edition, these are the Rhythm of the Rivers, the culinary and cocktails, history and culture, community outreach, and the holiday and special events. So the community outreach, I was very excited to hear about, which is new. This was this year, but will continue with us, is the Susan G. Komen breast cancer awareness. So that takes place October 17th. And then we also have the golf, if anybody has interested in golf, we have selected voyages for you for that. The next slide, I don't want to take too much time going into this. Okay, so the industry accolades, sorry. So for 2019, I just want to thank our travel agency community and AAA for having voted as far as the Travel Age West Awards. These are we take these awards very seriously, and we couldn't be successful without having the support of our agencies. So I just want to say thank you for having me today, and if there's any questions, then of course then we'll move forward with that, but thank you.
Oh, Karen, thank you. Every itinerary that you walked us through, I was like, that's the one I want to go on. And then you moved on to the next, and hard decision because they all have so much to offer. It's such a beautiful way to see our beautiful country, and yes, the Countess will conquer COVID. So excited to see the inauguration. That's wonderful. You know, I don't know. I have to get to the Mississippi. I'm glad I know some AAA travel people. That's very, very exciting. And we have Viking on our screens now. So I'm going to welcome our next speaker, Richard Sims from Viking River Cruises. And we all know, you know, Viking is known for excellent service and also commitment to enrichment in learning. So Richard, I'm sure like us, we can't wait to return to the rivers and all these great experiences. Why don't you walk us through how your policies have evolved as you look to return to river cruising?
Great. Thank you, Diana, and thank you for having me today. It's a great panel, and I'm hoping we're able to provide a lot of great information to your AAA members. You know, this has been a tough year for us as well. Nothing has saddened us more than to see our beautiful ships tied up and not been able to deliver incredible experiences and vacations for our guests. And we were really on top of this from the get-go. We started looking at starting to cancel sailings actually towards the end of February, 1st of March. We held out as long as we thought possible. And then in the end, we felt like for the safety of our guests, we needed to go ahead and make a decision. Because not only do we have our river cruises, of course, we have ocean cruises as well. So we made that tough call, and we're the first out of all the cruise lines to go ahead and make that postponement. We've postponed actually through the end of December. We made that announcement last week. So we are postponed through December 31st. And as of right now, we just did not see any indication of you know, optimism that with the current situation, not only here in the U.S., but now the resurgence of you know, the COVID in a lot of the countries in Europe, that we felt like this year was going to happen. So we went ahead and just made the decision to postpone. So now our river cruises will start in March of 2021. We're hoping our ocean cruises will start up again in January, but of course that's a wait and see. But you know, the way we wanted to respond even before we announced the cancellations was really that peace of mind and a reassurance to our guests that we have their best interests at heart. We want to make sure that they're comfortable in their decisions, whether they're just deposited, whether they paid in full, whether they're within final payment. So we came out with our risk-free guarantee program around March the 1st, and it has been pretty much consistent. We've actually enhanced it a little bit more here recently, and that goes through August 31st. We'll talk about that shortly. But that's something that we've wanted to do from day one and be consistent for our guests. So we've offered, you know, full refunds to those guests who wanted to just go ahead and cancel on these departures that we've had to postpone, or they have taken 125% future cruise vouchers, which is basically a bonus 25% of what they had paid for that cruise. And you know, to our pleasant surprise and very excited about what we saw is that the overwhelming majority of our guests took the voucher, which showed us that they want a cruise. They're, you know, going to be ready to go as soon as this is over. And so it's allowed us to really focus during this time on protocols and health and safety measures. So we've been working with a variety of experts here in the U.S. as well as in Europe to enhance our safety protocols that we already have in place. You know, we're a privately held company. Our onboard and operations are handled by the Swiss, which are very much known for their high standards of safety and health protocols already. So what could we do to enhance what we've already been doing on board our ships and make sure that we're going to be able to welcome our guests at that time when we're able to cruise again? So we have actually not come out with an official you know, policy and plan yet. We're still kind of waiting on a lot of the CDC here in the U.S. to make sure that we're going to meet all of those needs. So we're not going to rush actually releasing everything, but a lot of the protocols that have already been mentioned, especially by Stephen, is absolutely things that I know that we've been discussing. Definitely the social distancing you've got on board, the shore experiences, but also we're taking it a step further. We're looking at all of our hotels that we do pre and post hotel stays for our guests. We've got an overwhelming majority of our guests who travel to Europe, travel pre or post and stay with us in some you know, first class hotels. So we've got to ensure that all of our partners that the guests are going to come in contact with have that safe experience from beginning to end. So we're looking at it from a very comprehensive standpoint, and we hope to release those protocols by the end of this month, if not early September. So stand by for that. But in the meantime, we've streamlined our operations. We've taken care of our crew and our staff. We've, kind of became lean and mean here in the States with our, not only our headquarters team, but as well as our sales and marketing team. But we've been trying to look for ways to stay engaged. And so we've launched Viking TV, which I'll talk about shortly, and talk about, the optimism that we have, because the future is bright at Viking with a lot of things that are on the horizon. And AAA is our #1 partner in the United States and Canada. AAA is our #1 selling partner, and I know that we're AAA's #1 river cruise line. And that is because, as you believe, we believe delivering a high quality, consistent customer experience, that is the heart of what we do. I know it's the heart of what AAA does. And so that is why we've been able to be so successful together. And really, at the end of the day, it's the Viking difference. And so if you can go to the next slide, I want to talk a little bit about the risk-free guarantee, because as I mentioned, if you were booked before March 1st, you were grandfathered into this program. Currently, it's set to expire August 31. So if you make any bookings by August 31, you will have the risk-free protection, and essentially allows you to cancel for any reason up to 24 hours. Instead of losing that those penalties, those cancel penalties like you would in the past, you would be given those penalties back in the form of a future cruise voucher that you can then use for up to 2 years. And so it gives you that peace of mind knowing that I'm not going to be out any money if I decide to cancel on my own for any reason up to 24 hours. So this means that even, let's say, in the best case scenario, COVID is an afterthought. Next summer, everything is great. There's no pandemic anymore. Everyone's happy. It's literally back to normal. And you still want to cancel 24 hours beforehand because you happen to, turn your ankle, while you were going to get your suitcase. You're going to be able to cancel and know that you're going to be protected with those and not lose any of your money for that cruise. So it's a great way to do that. If you want to go to the next slide. And so as we talk about Viking and what's on the horizon, we too are going to be sailing on the Mississippi River. We announced in April, right after the pandemic, of course, was really getting going. The exciting news that we are building a ship. It's being built down in Louisiana, and it's going to be called the Viking Mississippi. And we'll be cruising the entire length of, or practically the entire length of the Mississippi, I should say, between St. Paul, Minnesota, and New Orleans. And this is a state-of-the-art ship. We're going to bring more of a modern feel and approach to the Mississippi that really doesn't exist. And so we're going to bank, and really take away from our 23 years. We just actually celebrated our 23rd anniversary last month, Diane, as well. And we're going to bring that experience and our shipbuilding and what our guests love onto the Mississippi River. So we're going to have a little bit of a different approach. If you look at the ship, you can see lots of deck space as well as lots of window, lots of natural light that will be coming in. And so we're really excited about bringing that Viking difference to the Mississippi and giving, your AAA members, the opportunity to have a couple different experiences to choose from. That, the American, Steamboat Company, they do a phenomenal job. I was sitting there looking at the pictures just like everybody, and they've got some beautiful ships. This ship is going to be beautiful in its own right, but it's going to be a different experience. So that's going to give your members the opportunity to, really choose which, particular, experience they would like. If you want to go to the next slide, and just, something that she's already talked about, I know Karen talked about, was, doing an upper Mississippi, lower Mississippi, as well as the full length. And so I just want to bring to your attention that with the fact that we only have one ship, depending on what time of year you travel, will really depend on the itinerary that you're going to be able to choose when you sail with Viking. So we'll only be in the lower Mississippi, pretty much fall, spring, wintertime as well, operating round trip New Orleans, or we'll be doing those between Memphis and New Orleans. The upper Mississippi, completely different experience, as Karen mentioned, from a geographical landscape, the type of ports and towns you're going to be able to visit and the experiences ashore. So we're really, again, excited to be bringing the ship out. It's right under 400 guests, 386 guests to be exact. And that 15-day is our most popular itinerary, believe it or not. We're open for sale. First sailing starts August of 2022. August through December, pretty much already sold out, although you can get some space here and there. We've opened for sale all of the sailings through October of 2023. And believe it or not, the two 15-day itineraries that are departing in September and October of 2023 are already completely sold out, every cabin. So we are thrilled with the demand and the excitement that the ship's bringing to the Mississippi River. So if you want to go ahead and skip the next slide, because I just kind of covered that, and go into the next one. And that's Viking TV. And so this was created to really stay engaged with our guests during this COVID crisis. How could we keep our guests dreaming and keep them in touch with our crew, hearing from our chairman, and having the opportunity to continue to learn and engage, even though they're not able to leave their home and take vacations and experience it firsthand. So Viking TV was created. So definitely encourage you to go and look at this platform. We've had over 1 million people visit Viking TV since the end of March when this first started. It has been a phenomenal success. Every day we have a different theme, and we've got live streaming events every single day. They're archived, so you can go back if you happen to miss one, or if you're particularly interested in museums and the behind-the-scene experiences, you can go back all these Mondays since we started and see the recorded and view on demand. So I encourage you to check this out. This is a great platform, again, for you to learn more about Viking. If you're new to Viking, don't know a lot about us, this is a great platform to go and learn everything Viking and all those amazing experiences that you can do behind the scenes. If you want to go to the next one. So just to share with you quickly, and we'll move on, is that we, again, AAA is our #1 partner, and we give them exclusive benefits that we just do not give other partners. And so you'll receive a shipboard credit depending on the cruise length of your river cruise, and it's per stateroom, or per person, I should say. So essentially, you can receive up to $400 shipboard credit depending on the length of your river cruise. If you want to go ahead to the next slide. And so I'll just finish with a couple of things. If you're not very familiar with Viking, we are the small ship experts. Again, we started and really revolutionized cruising 23 years ago on the rivers of Europe. We started on the rivers of Russia and have built a fleet of 62 ships now in Europe alone. They are award-winning designs with our Viking longships, which you see here, which features our Aquavie Terrace up on the bow, which is award-winning. But we really focus on building these elegant, intimate vessels and taking you into the heart of the destination where you can immerse yourself based on your interests and how much you want to immerse yourself. We like to say we're the thinking person's cruise, and really, taking those, taking you there in comfort. We're also own and operate all of our ships and our crew. And so you can know that every cruise, every ship that you go on is going to be consistent in quality of service, which is really the most important part of what we do. The dining will be consistent, the operation, everything from start to finish will be consistent regardless of what ship you go on with Viking. If you want to go ahead to the next slide. So I talked about the thinking person's cruise, and that's really the heart of what we do. Our chairman likes to say, we've really built our 23 years on that very thing, the guest. Everything that we do centers on you, our guest. So we really want to take you into that destination, immerse you like no other, and give you unique perspectives. We call it the Viking way of exploration, where you can do local life experiences, possibly have dinner, share a meal in someone's home, go to behind the scenes and have privileged access to the Hermitage, for example, that you simply just can't get access with any other company out there. So we really want to bring that, that living, those activities on board the ships as well, and bring that enrichment. So not only will you have it ashore, but you'll have it on board as well. We bring that cuisine on board. We focus on that regional fresh cuisine. That service and that attention, personalized attention to detail, again, is very important, what we want to do. And at the end of the day, what's one of the best things? If you've river cruised before, one of the best things is the socializing and being able to meet other people. As we move forward and we create these safety protocols, we want to make sure that you understand we're going to do everything we can to keep you safe, but still deliver that Viking experience that our guests love, and try not to interrupt and make it cumbersome and uncomfortable and not as fun as it should be. I want to just stress that the safety of our guests is the #1 priority, but we really do want to make sure that what we do is going to be able to maintain that experience for our guests that they love. And then finally, just that Viking inclusive value, and this goes for the Mississippi River as well. We're going to include one shore experience in every single port of call. Then you'll have those optional experiences again if you want to immerse yourself further. All on board meals, your choice of multiple dining views on board. Wine, beer, and soft drinks are included at lunch and dinner, especially coffees, teas, bottled water replenished daily. That's available 24 hours, 24-hour room service, free Wi-Fi, which I know is important to a lot of you. And then first class hotels, again, the quality of the hotels, the accommodations, and making sure that they're going to have that high quality opportunities to provide that safety and health environment. And then finally, all your port charges and government taxes are included as well. So we're not going to nickel and dime you once you get on board. So I want to, thank you again, AAA and Diana, for having me and Viking on. And again, unfortunately, we don't have a lot of the safety and health protocols we're going to be doing specifically. But if you give us another couple of weeks, we will be releasing that. I think everyone will be very pleased to see what we'll be doing to ensure the safety of our guests.
Absolutely, Richard. And just thinking about having that confidence that you can go ahead and change plans if needed within a day and hold on to that trip to rebook for up to 2 years.
Yep.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful service. So congratulations to all of you on 23 years.
Thank you.
Just curious as to what's the real hot spot that you're booking right now?
Oh, for us, oh gosh,
Yeah.
Well, definitely the Mississippi River. From a Viking standpoint, when you look at the rivers of Europe, the Rhine and the Danube are always the most popular. Is best for first timers. You can do combination of both on our European, getaway. You've got so many different, rivers in Europe that's going to provide a unique and experience in of their own. But definitely the Rhine, Danube continue to dominate, interest and bookings for next year. And then the Mississippi again, for us to be selling out sailings 3 years from now is nothing short of amazing in today's environment.
Through 2023, that's amazing. And, the itinerary on the Mississippi that keeps, a 15-day trip for guests, that restores my confidence in Americans that we're learning how to relax a little bit. I think that's wonderful. And I'll definitely be checking out Viking TV. Looks like you have a whole series of lectures that can be viewed on there as well. It's really, really interesting. So while I have the three of you here, just wanted to ask, because we're all looking forward to traveling. As travel experts yourself, I'm curious as to what destination you're looking forward to exploring yourselves when the time is right. And I'll start with ladies first. We can start with Karen. When you're living in Seattle, though, Karen, you have so many gorgeous surroundings, so it's not bad to stay home, but oh, Karen, I think you're on mute there. Sorry about that. We can see you. We just can't hear you yet.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Okay.
I put myself on mute, but thank you for letting me know. Yes, living here in the Pacific Northwest, because each paddle wheeler is so very different as far as the experience and the complete immersion, I would say, I'm really truly interested in the history of the Lewis and Clark. So I think the Pacific Northwest is on my next list of experiences. And then, of course, the upper Mississippi and the tributaries. But like I said in my presentation, the Kentucky Derby is definitely on my top priority. So,
as it is mine, Karen.
Yeah.
I can't wait to go hat shopping.
Yes, exactly. Thank you.
Well, good to know. How about you, Stephen?
So I would agree with my colleague Richard that the Danube and the Rhine are the most popular, and I've done them several times with colleagues and with my family. So for me, we have some new itineraries that I'm hoping I get a chance to travel on next year. We've got a couple of new itineraries in France. We've got an itinerary that marries the Saône and the Rhone rivers. So I haven't been to the Provence region in a while. I would really like to actually take my wife on that itinerary if I could. And the Douro River continues to be very popular for us. So I'd like to get to Portugal. That's on my short list. And then one last one. We are going to start sailing in Egypt again on the Nile River. We took a pause from that, and we're back on the Nile late next year with a new ship. And that's something I've never done. So I'd like to do that. I've been to Asia, I've been to Africa, other parts of Africa, but I've never been on the Nile, and that's on my bucket list. So I would say those three keep me very excited about what I'm doing. So
that's wonderful. And I would let your wife choose, because those are all good choices.
Well, she is the boss, so she does make absolutely.
Stephen, how about you, Richard?
Well, Stephen kind of stole my thunder there. I was hoping, like, don't say the Nile, don't say the Nile, don't say the Nile. But, you know, I probably could go back to the Danube a million times and want to go back 1,000,001. There's something about Budapest and cruising on the Danube and going into Vienna. I mean, there's just so many spectacular, stops there on the Danube. But, I have not been to Egypt, and that is a destination that I've been wanting to go for years. And we've just launched a brand new ship. Unfortunately, we couldn't sail her this year, but she'll be ready to go in March. Fewer than 90 guests, so it's a much smaller, intimate cruise experience as well. But to see the antiquities and to experience that, I just get goosebumps thinking about it. So I definitely have to say the Nile.
That sounds magical. And the three of you, I think, have inspired me, certainly, but many of our members today. So I want to thank each of you for your time. I know you're on different time zones. So Karen, thank you so much. We're out of time, unfortunately, but I want to encourage everyone, if you have further questions, our travel agents are standing by. Just visit us at AAA.com/travel. And again, our panelists are wonderful experts, and we cannot thank you enough. Have a great evening, everyone.